Yeah, I'm just standing around. I'm having coffee. Um, Making some coffee over the stove top over here with my little espresso coffee pot, and I want to drum without making an ass of myself, and I don't want to do anything foolish more than I just did. But I am happy to smoke and drink some coffee for some jazz hour for about the middle of the afternoon here. It's a nice day in Florida, and I don't think anybody's going to hassle me today at the moment. So, for everybody interested or not, I'm just trying to share my time a little bit while I got some free time. It's coffee time. I got a drum set and I'm wide awake doing it. I don't mean to burden anybody with this presentation or try anybody's patience. Once I figure out how to put a camera up, I'm okay. But until I get there, I don't know what I'm doing because I'm having fun playing with the lighting. You know? There you go. That's a new one. Here for you, here for good. Enhance your indoor air quality with a whole host of cleaning. Your entire system will be fully sanitized, deodorized, and sealed with thorough cleaning of all your ducts, dirt, and fogging procedures by our just a little bit wrong because I want to have the bass drum show up a little more than that. But all right, I'm having a little bit of creative time here to hope things don't fall off the. These are the tools. That's a stand I use to stop the camera from falling over. You know, and little things like that. I don't know what it's going to sound like or look like. I just try without making anything get hurt or anybody upset while I'm doing it. Forgive me. All right. All right. I just want to start by saying a few things, if I can say it out loud. I got my chairs and everything set in a different part of the house where I'm not normally standing or sitting. Isn't that interesting how the camera changes from having a little bit closeness to the lens from that's just sunlight in here. That's the sunlight coming through my windows. Now, I'm watching I'm watching how different things to talk about, but for one thing is this media and cinematography and drums. And what I do, what I've been doing is staying on Facebook too much. And I think I cracked up a lot by not having any satisfaction at all for the notion that I wasn't getting a quality of experience on Facebook that I felt, it bothers me to have a large audience that is like a Facebook friendship community that they keep throwing at you people that you can't possibly have anything to be in common with or share. And they're just censoring you. And I don't like that. So I got freaked out and I started telling myself nobody wants to talk to me ever. And it's time for me to be an adult with the United States. Now, as far as being crazy, I'm going to be quiet. I like to think that I'm talking to the professional agencies, the United States, our government, and people in between from the people who flip burgers down the street. And I like to think that there's a possibility that I'm reaching out and breaking barriers. But I recognize this is not the venue to talk about myself very well at all and be taken seriously about much for anything. So I rather just realize that changing into a Twitter account, getting off of Facebook, and trying to practice a little bit with the idea that I'm trying to work with the reality, not the fantasy, a delusion, a disassociation of being a personal experience dealing with Meta, Google, United Management Group and Sony Management Group being after me, basically. They're after me. They ban me. They routinely take 249 countries worth of attention on me and tell me off that I can't exist. For decades now, I feel, but now I know for a fact it's happening to a cumulative acknowledging post-COVID that there's a hit squad out there basically for culture clubs out here, and I'm afraid to recognize anything less would be dangerous. If you want to have an online personality profile experience and be not necessarily appreciated like I have been, hardly, I'm a hardly worth the mention. I'm dimensional. I'm dementia. But here's what I'm not. I'm not arrested or in a jail cell or in a hospital bed today, so I thought I'd drum. Also, I thought for a couple sentences that my notions and inflections from some of the videos I presented earlier, some of the drum stuff that I solo in my mind, I'm combining songs. There's stuff like Yes Music that Andrew and I and Bonanza and The Heart of the Sunrise. I can create that while they're talking to me and create something that they would be familiar with that they could create into an improvised situation. In other words, I can remix like a DJ on the spot and rewrite you, with you writing me with you as the drummer, particularly as a drummer. And I could do it in the drum seat where I could control the band if they only knew who they were and where we were jamming, if we could just have a little bit of time to get a familiar acquaintance with each other, that we could do those jazzy changes with each other and kind of rewrite the songs. I'm sitting here in my parlor all by my little lonesome, drinking coffee and smoking medical marijuana very timidly and moderately this afternoon in a nice sunshine of Florida with strength now. I'm touching my arms. If you haven't noticed, I've noticed myself doing it in this video. In a nice, comfortable, I got a feeling like I'm a balloon, like a nice feeling warm body while my veins are starting to stab me a little bit, my veins in my arms. And if they don't get massaged and I don't keep my blood pressure flowing from my whole body, pumped up, which is unfortunately the way I feel, nice and calm, sitting here all alone in my little bosom of my abode of solitude and contemplative notions of bullshit. And I'm stuck. So bear with me. I'm 53 years old with these blue veins, and the blood is flowing. It's rolling and flowing well, and I am so happy to be here. As far as appropriate for women and children, I think my music is appropriate for women and children, should only if they're old enough to be there and they can take the volume level and the adult theme of how perhaps women are made to be bearing children while they're breastfeeding and everything else in front of me. I love it. But I got to be honest with you. I don't want to have a lot of kids in my face all the time in my personal experience, because I'm too horny and bachelor quality, where my medical needs and my identity, my social quality is I got to get laid, I got to get paid, and I got to get made, and there's nothing left for me to say other than I would do Hillary Clinton while Bill was watching it so I could get to her daughter. That's how evil I am, trying not to be evil-minded with my horny bastard drum setup. Now, my horny bastard drum setup comes to mind to talk about Kamala Harris, the president's assistant, vice president. I want to talk to you about being with Ocasio-Cortez. I want you to get involved with me on Twitter. I'm not fooling around with anybody. I'm a psycho. I got nothing but love for the United States of America this year. We're going to get there together. I got a court case if I want to do it, where I got a HUD satisfaction coming to me, and I want a goddamn docket number for my WhiteHouse.gov to be remembered now. We're gonna go to where we want to go. I'm not gonna murder anybody outright. You're gonna have a chance to hear me drum for a long time if only you let me eat and drum for you while I have medical marijuana pursuing my marriage and my home. I haven't bought a house yet. All right. So, anyways, there's my explanation video. I've been thinking about creating a nice video for my television, which seems to have great streaming qualities. All of a sudden, I'm in my movie. And I want to thank the United States of America, President Joseph Biden, for staying alive. I'm not kissing everybody's ass. I'm explaining to you very simply. This is so simple, it hurts. I recognized in the year 2023, I recognize that we're in a peer group. If you're over the age of so-and-so and can reflect over each other's last 25 years of forbearance and perdition, I'm willing to work with the last 25 years and own it. My mishaps and my responsibility for failure to launch, not the United States or anybody associated with me, but my inability to reach with my ability to touch. Okay? God's given me my blessing to show me a video camera on a day like today with the sunshine, with this furniture. That couch was not allowed to be here, but I got darn kept it anyway. It's a volunteer donation from the Clara White Rescue Mission, who I proudly accept as a cultural center for the jazz people of the United States of America, who I'm currently renting from, who I was able to talk to more than 6-7 years ago from New Bedford, Massachusetts, Fairhaven, Massachusetts. I was able to speak to them at that point where I introduced myself with my dying father and told them I was going to need to be moving within 30 days. Let me set up my veteran services to have safe housing upon arrival. They failed to do it, but I'm renting from them now. It's not satisfactory. It's acceptable. I protest facts. But the fiction was I overbeared myself with my emotional immaturity and ridiculous nature to make a heinous fool of myself on Facebook, which banned me, and now I'm not allowed to be back on there for any reason. YouTube Music Group has done this to me in the past in their nice way of saying I'm not allowed to participate in the world either. I don't expect to go very far, so this is an SOS message on Twitter for Daily Motion Inflection. I will be working with www.dailymotion.com/a sent 2112 for France and all involved media interests, international quarters, United Kingdom, et al., Canada, United States, China, Japan. Particularly France, it's their domain. I refuse to be censored and deleted by Dubai and the 249 countries that reflect upon the United Management Group to stop me from playing Christmas music in my video streams from public domain radio broadcasts for Christmas holiday occasions in my power. I have a lot of problems with the way anybody treats me in the way that the United States had to be inflected with training assistance for the United World culture to be training aids for your customer service representatives and all telecommunication devices, networks, and industry standard forums that involved us and told us off while they were doing it because they couldn't understand who we were or why we were talking to them. So I don't want to be banned and deleted by people who don't associate with me and wouldn't know me from anything else other than throwing me around anyway. My name's Austin Santalella, and I intend to make a lot of money in the event that somebody thought I was worth a dime. Right now, I live on Social Security disability. I make the most I've ever made in my life, but it's under $1,000 a month. And I make a very small pittance at 20% veteran compensation rating, which is supposed to be 100% founded, not paid for more than 30 years. But now I got a 20% rating from 2009. I make a very paltry amount of money to live in the state of Florida. I'm pretty much barely making it. I can't use credit cards anymore. I'm paying them off from the last 2 years of the COVID experience and the mishap of mistreatment and being lost, basically thrown around by the United States while I was in COVID quarantine and prior to. My son is missing and I wish him the best of luck, but I wish to God that somebody would give me a bearing, that I would have some kind of a correct knowledge of Social Security number, whereabouts of my mother, relatives that are known to me, who I've lost in the last 3 years, let alone the last 10. But the last 2, 3 years are pretty impressive to me. And the last 7 months, 8 months, I lost my mother from May. No contact. I can't understand what happened, and I'm going to pretend that's not supposed to be happening as long as I can call a cop. But somebody doesn't want to talk to me for social programs, the Department of Aging, and my own veteran needs anymore. So I'm stuck in the corner waiting for people to respond to me through the Twitter response line that I'm putting a personal appeal out that I'm in the sense of hardship. I'm in financial distress from the last 2 years that I can't afford to eat and move myself out of a non-code compliant HUD Section 8 apartment that I was forced into from a Section 8 HUD-VASH veteran service quality out of a rescue mission that forced me to take an apartment without it being fit for the Section 8 voucher. So in other words, I have to move anyway, and I have to take my stuff out of here, and I don't have the means to do it. And I don't know where I'm going or why I would move there in the first place or why I would take myself anywhere. I'm asking for a coordinated effort from veteran corporate service 8 officers to just give me a chance to recover a little bit of the time that I was supposed to have for the last 2 years from the people throwing me out instead of helping me while I was paying for everything. I wasn't allowed or afforded myself, couldn't pay for it. I had to sleep outside in rescue missions, if not hotels, if not worse. Being I was being thrown out. I wasn't being helped. I'm going to say my piece and I'm going to do my drums when I'm coming back on this drum set today, if I do it at all, because I'm tired. I'm going to have my coffee. I want the United States to know I'm not here to bitch and moan and take all your lifeblood out of you like a social vampire, like I've been probably created to become, all these video posts that I culminated myself on Facebook as. My sincere hope and intention really is, honestly, to give something back to the United States, people to know my face so I could have a chance to give my son something to be left behind while I'm here. And the fact that I also can bear moving forward with my personal life, that I need to have a family experience. I cannot live in an isolation vacuum. I did not create. I'm forced into it by an imposition of circumstances over the change of states that I moved here in 2016 to Florida, just to get my son that never materialized the correct way for me to be set up at all, to be safely put here. I'm a musician, and I want everybody to know that I'm working with the idea that the NFL could put me on anybody's football team field, and I would be in the middle of their field, and I would be able to play. And I would be able to incite the crowd because I can play improvisational. And I'm playing in a style of music that's melodious in its quality, that I don't really need to have a lot of people to be too upset about me to show up. And I can play well with orchestras and marching bands and everything else. Some of the people who come to mind that I would like to sit in with before they pass away would be Ringo Starr, Sir Paul McCartney, Geddy Lee, Alex Lifeson. The band Leonard Skinner, I'm in their hometown, who I affectionately care about, before I got to Jacksonville and realized I was going to end up here. I'd like to congratulate them and their football club that they ended up with me this year, looking at them back, telling everybody 2023 post-COVID, their playoff quality team has, a chance to be at least looked upon as one of the most turnaround success stories you can get. It's just happening, so nobody could really write the book yet. May they go on and win the playoffs and go forward and take this all away. And I want to be with the situation every step of the way. It's called a situation to me. I'm laughing like the guys, I'm laughing like Jackie Gleason, Burt Reynolds, Smokey and the Bandit. I'm laughing like Dom DeLuise, Cannonball Run. I'm laughing like a good old boy because I grew up as a child through that era, and I know who I wanted to know when I was my relatives. I was with my relatives, and we had a good time with everybody there. And I'll tell you what, it's our era to shine. It's our turn to shine. So it's time for us to fly. Don't be ashamed. I'm so sorry I had to be upset so much on Facebook to scare everybody off as much as I got to be scared myself over the holidays. But let me ask you to remember that we think about it that way. That nobody's guaranteed tomorrow. Have a good smile and make use of the sunshine. Time is flying. We love it. People are precious. When I come back to drum, I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna start. I was playing Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven and rewriting the book, man. I'm gonna tell you something. These double bass drums are two-tone drums. They're an 18-inch drum and a 22-inch drum. They're both the same length. They're not even bass drums. They're surdo Brazilian percussion instruments you're supposed to play with padded mallets in your hand, right? And I'm playing it with my feet with really great pedals, and I'm having a sweet time just feeling my sense of touching them. I'm barely touching them. They're barely being touched. They're very quiet in here, though. They sound boomy. It's the way the camera picks up on this microphone, on this camera, that I'm getting everything elevated in my tone. That's why I'm testing it with my voice in this echoey room. Trust me, I'm checking my chest to make sure I don't hurt myself yelling too hard, basically, while I'm just communicating in a conversational tone. The volume level will pick up and sound different from the camera microphone I'm using. And these drums sound sweet. And I came up with these coverings here in lieu of everybody recognizing what this means. It means the depth of the United States, and everybody know. Maybe my black spots in my lungs, but I'll tell you, as a black cat myself, I'll tell you what that means. Black hats, black cats, black fangs, big hearts, big fangs, big black hats, big black bats, all these things. I got these hashtags on Facebook. I got all this fast thinking. Black gloves, black hats, black t-shirts. Oh yeah, we're the black people. Be black like me. We matter. Remember that. We were there when the goddamn 60s were showing up, and we were the kids that were on Sesame Street in the 70s going to school with you for the first frickin' time. You better eat your alphabets and Cheerios like I did and start eating Frosted Flakes and start talking to me like a man. Instead of this bullshit racial division. I didn't vote for that shit. That was that bullshit. That was the bullshit that when they took Sanford and Son off the air in prime time, all that bullshit, all that nonsense. All right, let me let that shit go. I love people, and I think people want to try to love me. I think if there's a chance that we could eat together in this year, now would be the time to let me know. I don't have much to do with myself, and I can't get around very well by myself in the state of Florida on my 2 feet and my income to even thought I could walk out the door. But my drums are right here, and I'm waiting to play. I don't want to do anything out of color worse than I already have. So let me keep to myself and get my bearing back. If I pop back on, it's nice and warm in here right now. I'm sure I'm going to want to play again and pop the camera on. I'm just going to do it silently, and I'll be broadcasting if I come back when I do. Thank you very much. Have a good evening. See you soon.